Hi. In this first episode, I would like to tell you a story. And the story is going to be called This Little Light. I've always had this little light in me. I like to call it this little light of mine. And this little light is a passion for communication. My earliest memory of this was when I was in primary school, in class four, grade four. Whenever I had a chance to talk in front of a group, be it as a representative or as a peer, this little light burned. I could feel its warmth as it just burned so brightly. This passion continued up to university. And by this time, I was sure that I wanted to teach. I wanted to become a teacher. Spoilers, I am not a teacher yet, but I still do want to become a teacher, be it in the traditional definition of that word or the more non-traditional definition of that word. I still want to become a teacher. Fueling this passion, this little light of mine feels alive, it feels like freedom. It's just this expansiveness that I feel that I can't even explain. That is what this little light of mine feels like. 2 years ago, I got an idea that I wanted to start a podcast, and man, was I excited. Like this is the one thing that really actually gives my soul life. And so I did all my research. I wrote down what I needed to write. I sought out a mentor who was willing to help me along. But I kept postponing it. I just kept making all these excuses that sounded so convincing. They sounded so reasonable as to why this podcast would not be a possibility. But this little light of mine kept me accountable. It actually kept accusing me to myself, telling me, you do know, Mary, you're just fooling around with yourself. You know that these decisions are fear-based. They're not based off of love. You know how they say that, actually not, they don't say this is actually in the Bible, that perfect love casts out fear. Well, for me, it was a problem or a question of self-love, the love for myself. And it was manifested in just the doubt of, I don't know if I love myself so deeply that I can compassionately love myself as I allow myself to grow through this journey of nurturing this thing that 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 gives me life. I wondered, do I love myself so deeply to care for myself and to listen to the longings of my heart, regardless of what's going on, and actually follow through? You know, I wondered, do I love myself so deeply that I can just dwell in the innermost parts of me that guide me, that tell me when to do, what to do, when to do it, what to set a boundary, as long as I am following this light that won't stop burning? I wonder, do I love myself so deeply that I can actually hold myself accountable and yet not lose my worth as a human being in my own eyes? All along nurturing this little light of mine, was my pride too big that I don't want to fail, or I don't want to make a fool out of myself in the public eye? Well, I still have a long way to go as far as self love goes in those areas. And I know I'm not there yet, but here is what I know. The cost of me not nurturing this little light of mine is far more painful and expensive. This journey that I have taken on is scary. Man, it's really scary and uncomfortable, Like I don't know if I have the capacity in me to not be emotionally unraveled by the praise and the criticism that I am bound to receive just by exposing this light of mine out to the world. I don't know if I have the capacity to ask for help, ask for support, and actually absorb the positive feedback that comes from genuine, kind people. while yet not thirsting for validation and seeking it out, not doing it for the sake of validation. I don't know if I have the capacity in me to care, to protect this little light of mine, this precious little light of mine, while exposing it to the world. I don't know. In fact, I do know right now, I don't have the capacity for that. I don't. But I do know this, that I can trust myself to learn. I can trust that I will figure it out. The reason I'm sharing this story of my little light with you is because I think it might resonate with somebody. Somebody might be in this season, in a season where you do have a light, you do have that one thing that won't give you peace until you do it, but you haven't done it, and you might have good reasons for that. Maybe it's just not time yet. Maybe you don't have the resources. But maybe you're like me, who is just stopping yourself because of fear. Maybe you have put yourself, like me, in the gray season of this unmet desire, unmet need that you have. If that is the case, and if that is the case, first of all, there's not condemnation. There is just not condemnation. The only way through is through self-love and radical self-compassion. At every moment, just trust that you're doing the best that you can do at all the time. That is the truth. The best in terms of the strength that you have, mental strength, your mental capacity, your past experiences. At every moment, you're doing the best that you can. So if you're not doing it right now, then it means you're probably not ready, and that's fine. The other thing that I hope that you can get is that sometimes it takes time. It takes time to even get to that space where you're trying, and that is totally fine. Just give yourself some grace and trust that whenever you're ready, that light will still be there to guide you. But if in your heart of hearts, you know that you are ready to nurture, to be a better steward of this little light of yours, I want you to join me in this journey, and let's do those things that actually cause our souls to come alive, And if you decide to do that, I would want to know what it is that you're working on. I would want to know what your light is, and where is that? Is it burning bright? Is it dimming? Is it even smoldering? Is it like completely out? Whatever your light is, there's the only way to work with it is to love yourself and to give yourself so much compassion. By starting this journey of podcasting, I am just open to be led. If I start this podcast and it lasts for 1 year and then it's over, I am totally fine with that, as long as I just do this thing that brings me so much joy. So that is my story, the story of my little light. And I hope that you can decide that you also want to be a better steward of that light of yours. And if not, you can give yourself time and grace and compassion. All right. I will see you next week. Bye.